Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing really fantastic. I hope you're doing great. I hope you have read more than me this month or enjoyed books more than me this month, because this month was a struggle. Mostly internal. I've read 3 books and 1 comic this month, and actually they're all in the Sci-Fi 24 reading vlog. I know. I read all of these at once at one point, and then I started reading the 4th book of The Wheel of Time, and I was reading that for 20 days. So that was fun. Let's talk about these 4 books. I'm sorry there's not going to be so much new books to talk about, but you know, life happens. Yeah, hopefully you don't get to experience that. Honestly, the stress is like the internal stress of knowing that you didn't read that much is worse than the fact that you're not reading. But I had a lot of fun. My life was good. It was just, I went to Israel, which was nice, and I've been to Norway. I've had a lot of projects, which has been fun, and I've loved it. So let's talk about these books. I forgot which order they're in, so let's forget about that. The first book I finished this month was Starsight by Brandon Sanderson. This is the sequel to Skyward, and it's kind of like a young adult sci-fi about these people who live underground on this kind of like planet. It's like almost like a meteorite. See that? That's not how you say it, Wilma. Spencer, the main character, she has been ridiculed her whole life because her father was a pilot, but he betrayed humankind and basically went against them on a random spree, and so she is kind of fighting against this past, and she's trying to become a pilot because that's what she wants. And this is the 2nd book, so it's definitely like a leap from the 1st book. Like the 1st book was like basically only the introduction, and in this one like they go off planet. Spencer meets all these different species. That was really cool. I loved like how accurate it was for our time and like the representation that was shown through the different characters and personalities, species, the different sexualities, gender. I thought it was really cool. Something I actually really needed at the time. You can click on my gender and fantasy video if you want to watch more on the subject. But yeah, I thought this was really refreshing. I liked it. It was action-packed. I think the last chapter was kind of unnecessary, but I think it was also just Brandon Sanderson leading us into the 3rd book in this. Maybe it's gonna be trilogy. I don't know. Someone let me know if they know. So I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars because I really enjoyed it. There's definitely parts that were like slower that I didn't like as much, but 5 stars. Then I read The Moon is a Harsh Mistress by Robert A. Heinlein. This is like a classic that's written in the 60s, I believe, and it's taking place in 2075 on the moon, where basically this colony has started up from a prison that was originally created there. Like all the fugitives, that's not the word, all illegals, no, Wilma, all convicts was sent there, and they kind of like built their own society. And this is like many years later, where they've kind of built families that are like a little bit odd. They have built their own society. They don't really have like a legal system, but they feel like they need to regain their own power from Earth because they've become a completely different like country or planet. And now this rebellion is in this book they start a rebellion, and you're following this main character who I've already forgotten the name of. Manny. He creates this relationship with a robot that basically controls everything on the moon, and Manny, he's like an engineer, and they get like a really close relationship, and they start planning together with all these other people how to start a rebellion. So all in all, this was like such a strange book because it starts out really funny. You're interested in this relationship that the robot and Manny has. The robot is called Mike, I believe, and kind of in the beginning you see like how he can be both like female and male. That was fun, and how he learns to be human. He learns how to like make jokes, and I thought that was really fun, and I really liked that. And then it kind of like the rebellion starts, and that's like already really start like in the beginning, and I end up giving this book 2 stars because what ultimately this author does is that he narrates what's happening instead of letting us participate in the story, and it makes it really hard to like connect to the plot and the characters. And there's definitely a part where they go back down to Earth where it becomes really interesting because it's a lot of argumentation and politics, and all of a sudden I actually was kind of more interested because you learn a lot more about the world and the people and all that. And I liked that, but just the way it was told and the writing was really odd. I did like, however, that the author changed the narrative so it sounded like what people on the moon would talk in 2075. So that was fun. I like it when authors do that. That was really cool, like create their own language in a way. But the ending, some people died and I was a little sad, and other people died and I wasn't so sad. And I don't know. I don't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. But next month we're reading, in March, we're reading, that's actually today. It's 1st of March today. Damn. So we're reading Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky because I'm going to SwedCon or Fantastica in Stockholm. And if you sign up before the 9th of March, you can, in your under 26 years old, you can go in for free, and Adrian Tchaikovsky is going to be there. So I'm aiming to read Children of Time and Children of Ruin before then. I know that's optimistic, but I would really love that. I think that will be fun. So that's what we're trying to do. Please join. I will tag the link down below for Children of Time read along. If you want to join, do it. And then I finished Paper Girls Volume 6. This is the last one in the Paper Girls books. These are so action-packed because it's about these 6 paper girls who meet one night, and all of a sudden they're like trapped in this like war that expands over time, and they meet like different people, like different characters of themselves in like different realities or like different time zones, and it's so effed up, and you're like, I don't understand how this is happening. What is happening? I'm not on track. And so what happens is that when a volume is released like every half year, every year, it's impossible to like be as engaged and as like loving about the story. And I ended up giving this 3 stars, not because it was bad, but just personally I think I need to like read them all after each other, like straight after each other, and then I'm gonna change my rating on Goodreads and it's all gonna be fine. So don't be like, ooh, the ending is bad. It's not bad. Trust me, it's not bad. But just this type of book, and the artwork is really cool, and I don't even know what it means. What does it mean? What does this all mean? What is life? Let's move on. Last book I read this month was Beneath the Rising by Premay Mohammed. I think this is Premay's, it's her first novel, it's debut. And this was sent to me for review by Rebellion Publishing, so I'm really excited about that. This is kind of like a mix between sci-fi and fantasy, and I did write loads of notes for this because I was planning on doing a review, but I'm not going to look at the notes. I'm just gonna wing it. We're winging it. So this is about this main character who is kind of like the best friend to the protagonist, or the actual main character, which is kind of funny. He and his friend, her name is Johnny. She's basically like a prodigy. That's what the word. She's a prodigy, and she's like a genius, and she's come up with so many great things, inventions, that she's like a scientist prodigy, and that saved so many lives, and she's just amazing. But then one night she kind of creates this thing that somehow contacts these dark creatures from like another dimension. If you know what creatures I'm talking about, actually, that's what I was gonna say. It reminds me of Stranger Things a little bit. A little bit, yeah. And then these two kind of have to go on this journey, and they go to the Middle East, and they try to figure out all this lore that makes them like try to close the gate for these dark ones to come in. And to be honest, I really wish that this would have kept to only like sci-fi, because the fantasy element and the spells element and the magic element was overboard, and especially when there's like a spell being used and there's like or the person says like, oh, I'm using the spell, or like there's an incantation that I say. I really want the author to write out the incantation, or write out the spell, or say like, how does this work, like where does the magic coming from. Like, it was just really vague on how the whole like magic of it worked, and also the lore of like when these creatures have intervened in time was very mixed up, and they talked about a lot of different time periods. It was not clear whatsoever, so that really bothered me. But the whole like concept and the sci-fi element was really cool, and I actually really liked the ending, which surprised me a little bit. I wish one of the characters would have died. I don't know if you're ever like that, if you read a book and you're like, man, this would have been so much more like stakes and exciting if one of them just died. Yeah, I thought that. definitely not my favorite. I think I gave it 3 stars, possibly a 2-star. So those are all the books I read this month, guys. I don't know what's up. I also, where's that one? I have read this much of the 4th book in Wheel of Time. It's The Shadow Rising. This copy is so ruined now, but I love it. So I'm on page 370 out of like 1,000, so that's great. I'm gonna be reading this for a long time. It's not that it's slow, to give you a short wrap up. It's not that it's slow, I'm just not like in the mood to read, and I'm really excited about sewing right now. So I've been doing that, and that's fine. And my videos will probably be about other stuff than wrap-ups. That's cool. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to sign up for SweatCon if you're interested in that, and join the reading along for Children of Time. Yeah, that's that. Comment below if you read any of these books, your thoughts on them. Also friend, or I always forget to say this, friend or add me, follow me on Goodreads so we can talk about books together. Yeah. Bye.